Joined by Craig Gilbert now. And Craig, some breaking news out of Washington this morning with the Senate Republicans unveiling their health care overhaul, the repeal of Obamacare. What do we know about it so far?
Well, we're just starting to get a look at the bill. I mean, we knew even before today that this was not going to be a wholesale rewrite of the House bill like we once thought it would be, that it's more of sort of changes along the margins. It's going to be a little bit more moderate than the House bill in some respects, perhaps with respect to the subsidies people get for Obamacare, but it's going to follow the broad outlines of the House bill with all of its controversy and all of the political complications, which are especially striking in the Senate, where Republicans have a very narrow majority and they have to thread the needle between the moderate people with the moderates with reservations about the bill and the hardcore conservatives with reservations about the bill.
Right. It's a political gamble for McConnell. This was developed in secrecy, and they got a fair amount of heat even from their own party for that. But he has to get to, he can lose 3 senators, right?
Right.
No, he can lose.
I mean, there's two issues with the process. I mean, one is the secrecy, which you talked about, which has been very notable. And it's also just the time frame. You know, Republicans drafted their own bill without Democrats. They say, well, Democrats weren't going to help us anyway. But then they're leaving essentially about a week for people to kind of digest, absorb, and explain the bill before the Senate is going to have to vote on it. That makes even some Republicans nervous. Ron Johnson, the Republican from Wisconsin, who's expected to support the bill in the end by most people, had said yesterday that he didn't think that was enough time for people to evaluate the bill and to kind of get input from their own constituents on the bill.
Isn't there a risk for the Republicans here, too, of sort of owning the health care debate, much as Democrats did?
Yeah, I mean, that is a risk regardless of what's in the bill. I think that's just part of what they inherited when they took power. I think they understand that, and you know, they're kind of caught in a little bit of a political vice between passing a very unpopular bill, as all the polling suggests the House bill was, and this isn't going to be too different from the House bill, and not passing a bill which would have the effect of angering and demoralizing their own political base. So they face political risks both ways, but they're making the judgment that the bigger political risk for them is not doing anything and depressing their base going into the midterm elections.